Iconic twist endings. What do you think of when you hear that? Do you think of The Sixth Sense? Do you think of Fight Club? Do you think of Squid Game Season 1? And if you're racist, you might think of Squid Game Season 2 if you couldn't tell that that was him. Today, we're talking about the Survivor season that mastered the twist ending. Survivor Edge of Extinction. And the season gets a lot of hate. And I don't really agree with that. I actually am a big fan of this season. I think it's a very good season if you take it for what it is, which is a unique experience. The season's interesting to me because it's just so weird in not just how it goes the whole time, but how it ends. This is the weirdest ending to a Survivor season ever. No other season has really had a twist ending like this. I mean, you can talk about some having shock final tribal results, but this finale genuinely just changes the whole discussion about this season. It's all anyone talks about. So we're going to get into that today. Also, if you enjoy this video, I would love if you subscribed. Welcome back to Literal TV, where we are literally talking about Survivor Season 38, Edge of Extinction. Subscribe if you like the video. And yeah, Literal Games is coming soon. Our own reality series on this channel, hopefully, as long as, we have enough people. Okay, so to set the stage, I want to just talk about this season in general first. So, I'll be completely real. The season starts out, the Kama tribe is so irrelevant. Like, there's a whole tribe on this cast that is so forgotten. No one cares about this tribe. I know that's crazy to say, but even the returnees on this tribe do not get a great edit. They kind of just get a bit forgotten. Like, Aubrey comes into this as someone who made the final 5 twice. If she only did this season, she would be completely forgotten about. I think her season 38 appearance is forgotten about. And then you have Joe on his 3rd try as well, who is just a shadow of his former self, really. Like, on Cambodia, I didn't really care for him, but he's a very liked figure by a lot of, casuals who like that kind of type of player. And, I mean, having these people on here, even 2 of the finalists of this season end up being from Kama Tribe. They do not get the edit they really deserve, especially the 2nd placer. But we'll get more into that later, but honestly, he's not that relevant to this video, even though he made Final Tribal. So, the start of the game, we're on the Mana tribe. This tribe gets so much, focus. Also, if I'm not pronouncing words right, I'm a bit of a fucking idiot, so don't blame me. I'm sorry. Well, do blame me, but don't hurt me. Don't send hate comments, unless you want to. So yeah, we meet a few players on this tribe that are very relevant to the season. We have people like War Dog, who isn't hugely relevant to this video once again, but weird character. Who, does he go by War Dog in real life? Is that his, because I know his name's just David. I get not wanting to be David because that's boring, but War Dog? We also have David, coming back from Millennials versus Gen X, who does a decent job this season considering his placement. Same with Kelly Wentworth. Then we have Rick Devons, who is very important to the pieces of the puzzle of this video. I should have worded that better, but you understood what I meant, you know what I meant. So, Rick Devons, news reporter from Wisconsin. I actually made that up, where he's from. He might be from Wisconsin though. And he really is the main character of this season. This is one of the biggest cases of Survivor editing their main character to be so prevalent. The only other time I think it's happened is Samoa, and that's the other season that I think is close to having a twist ending with the Final Tribal Council. So with Rick, he gets loads of content this season, which is crazy considering how his run really goes and that he doesn't have the greatest strategic game. I love Rick. Listen, I actually really like Rick. He was my favorite on this season. He was the first favorite I ever had on Survivor. This was my first season to watch live, and it was really cool to see someone like him do so well. He's a very funny person. So obviously the editors would say, let's hang on to Rick. So we meet Rick and he has some good content. There's also another guy on this tribe, Chris Underwood. Now, if you've been around the American reality TV spaces, you know Chris Underwood. He was on The Challenge, he was on Survivor, and you must know that, right? But Chris Underwood's a weird case, and in this pre-swap, he gets some decent content. He's fine, but before the swap even happens, at the final 16, he's just voted off. He survives a couple rounds with the Reem and Keith boots, but I'm sorry, it's outlasting even, out-surviving is not a word. Keith and Reem, that's not really an achievement. And I love Reem. I actually liked Keith on the season at the time. I had some weird picks for favourites. Listen, I understand the show fully, I don't think. I mean, I technically watched some of David versus Goliath, but then I gave up and just kept up online. But I was a young boy, okay? I was a young boy, guys. Anyway, Chris gets his content, but he's booted. like before the swap, which is fine, whatever. Why am I talking about Chris though? Well, it's very relevant later, but yeah. And then we go to the swap, and in this time, Kama has been super irrelevant, and they continue to be irrelevant in the swap because the tribe divisions were literally just people from the original tribes, apart from Wendy was with people from Kama, who Wendy was originally on Mana, but she's also not that relevant. This isn't a whole season recap, guys. This is just about the twist ending. I'm just giving you the setup, okay? So Kama is fully just ignored once again, and you're probably thinking, if you haven't seen this season, is the twist a Kama wins? No, it's not. It's just, you probably have seen the season, but it's not that. They genuinely were just badly edited. And it was to set up for the twist, I do believe so. But it doesn't really achieve much. I think it just makes the fans who are really going to be passionate about it more passionate, that it under-edited people who probably did play better games than the winner. So, as we move into the swap, Rick is booted. Huge character, as I talked about before. The kind of voice of the audience in a way, I guess. He was definitely the narrator for a lot of things, and he was very heavily shown. And I think when you realise the theme of this season, it's return challenges, with the first one being at the merge. Such a big character being booted so early is just like, okay, he's 100% coming back, right? And, I mean, he does, yeah. Everyone else just forgotten, you know. Wendy and Keith quit the Edge. People like Reem and Chris, and who else was on the Edge at that point? I don't know, but they stay on the Edge, which is... A lot of people hate on the Edge twist. This was my first time watching Survivor, so I'm actually very accustomed to return twists. And for me, I'm mixed on the Edge. I do think it happens too late. I wish it would at least happen in an episode before the finale. I think that's still too late, but at least then I know who's going to be able to win in this finale. But on this season, the twist ending is really helped by the fact that it goes to the finale. You don't know. Anyone could return, and let's be real, this twist was set up for Joe to return. Jeff wanted a Joe win, just like the Aussie win that he wanted on South Pacific. And listen, Aussie's great. He also makes great OnlyFans content, but it's got to a point where like you can't bank on that because that's such a risk to take. What if Joe doesn't come back? We'll get to that later. But as we go into the merge, Rick's back, and at this point, I'm sorry, but I have to put it plain and simple. Rick is Edge of Extinction at this point. Like, when you think of returnees for Edge of Extinction, I love hardcore online fans, you know, they support not Julie. Who am I? Oh my god, I'm lost, sorry. They support Aurora and Victoria. They have some people that they want back like them. Realistically, the only person who's gonna be considered back is Rick Devens. In my opinion, I don't see anyone else anywhere. But that's my opinion. If you have a different opinion, listen guys, you're entitled to it. Comment down below if you disagree with me. I'm not trying to rage bait guys though. I think that's a very common opinion. So basically, Rick just dominates this merge in terms of screen time, and also kind of on a game level. It's hard because he constantly is an underdog. He keeps finding idols and winning challenges, and it's really impressive to watch in terms of an underdog level. I think it's a way more engaging underdog story than season 35 because Ben was clearly rigged for in ways which weren't even like normal. Like with the Final Four fire making, that was just ridiculous. That was just implemented out of nowhere, whereas like finding idols can be rigged, but I don't think they were actually. Rick did work very hard to get some of those idols. He did actually climb on top of the camp when everyone was asleep. So yeah, I actually really enjoy this merge because I like Rick Devens. That's the issue though. It's kind of reminded me of Big Brother 19, which we talked about recently. You had to like Paul to like Big Brother 19. Originally, I'm talking about what happened on the Edge. And we get this kind of segment, and I wasn't into Edgic at this point. I'm trying to think, how old would I be during Edge of Extinction? That would be 2019, but before my birthday, so I would be like 12 or 13, something like that anyway. And I did not know Edgic, but this moment with Chris reading a letter always stuck with me, where he sits on a rock, reads this letter from home, and I haven't rewatched this season to make this video, so I know my shit, guys. And Chris Underwood just gives this talk about his letter, and for me, I was just like, they're setting up this guy. Chris Underwood gets this setup, and he hasn't been in the game for so long. Why are we going to Chris Underwood? I got it more on Winners at War, where we got a lot of content with like all of these classic winners, but with the Edge, these people aren't, like, no one cared about Chris Underwood at this point. And actually, I like Chris Underwood, but I didn't care for him at this point. I think honestly, I think he really just lifted his reputation up with the challenge. So with this in mind, we go to the final 5 now in the main game and the return challenge. So obviously it's very set up like a Joe win or something. There's no real other way to look at it. I'm pretty sure they didn't have any advantages in the comp either, unlike with Winners at War where they could buy them with fire tokens, which is so convoluted for that. That season like could have worked with those twists. It just needed to be so much longer in the episodes. Season 40 is another video for another day. So what happens now? Well, guys, you probably have seen the season, but to cut it dry, is that a phrase? I think so. Chris comes back. I mean, I've been talking about Chris. Why would I talk about Chris if he didn't come back? Let's be real. People like Joe go home, and not very satisfying for the producers, and not very satisfying for the people at home. I think if you've really been paying attention to the edit, you would notice Chris was coming back. Probably. I think I did when I was younger, but obviously I'm saying that now. I know that he comes back. But yeah, he's back. Final 6. And we get to this point where we're in the game. We have Lauren. I'm trying to remember everyone in the game. Victoria, Rick, Julie, Gavin, and Chris. Oh my god. Yes, that is everyone left. Now, this is the main part of the video. We're in the finale. And I think it's very important to go more in detail on the finale because this is the episode that matters. So, you have the final 6 where, first off, Rick decides he's just going to hide 1 billion idols. I think he actually hides like 2 or 3. Anyway, they're fake. He finds the real idol. And also, Lauren had an idol. I don't remember where that came from. I'm not going to lie. But yeah, a lot of idols this season was crazy for idols. Fake idols, joint idols. It could have been really bad in terms of like the odds. But anyway, final 6. Yeah, I mean, person immune was Julie. Julie isn't very relevant to this story, I'm not gonna lie. Julie does end up making the end, I'll say that now. And it's just like, Julie, the thing is, I really liked her in the early merge. I think she had a decent edit, but she's just not that interesting in terms of the edit once you get to the deep merge where it really matters. And it's a shame because I think she's going to be a nice mother figure character, even though I can't really tell her age. She doesn't seem that old, but she still was like one of the older ones on this cast because this was a young cast, I think. I keep saying I think because I don't want to get in trouble if I've said something that's not true. Anyway, spreading misinformation on the internet aside, Victoria goes home. Victoria is someone who could have had a way better edit, probably. She had a decent edit this season, but she was a camera member, so yeah. Switching over, though, to Final 5. Rick wins immunity. I mean, it's Rick. Like, it was going to happen at some point in the finale. And Chris uses the joint idol. And Lauren goes home. And it's kind of just like, Chris using an idol. Again, he has an idol at both of these votes. Which I think is more impressive because he lets someone else play an idol on him the first time. This time it's like he got handed an idol. So basically, you only have to survive 1 vote once you come back into the game. It is a flawed system. But Chris being in the final 4 now was insane at the time. And I mean, you can understand where this is going now. But the reason this is such a twist ending is how it goes down. So, we're at the final 4. Chris wins immunity. And it's Rick, Gavin, and Julie. The obvious threat is... Oh my god, I can't talk. What the hell just happened? The obvious threat is Rick. And for me, I really like this move. It's a really fun move for TV. Chris decides he's going to give up immunity and face Rick. I think it's a really impressive move, honestly. Like, I know people, like, say it's the obvious move. I don't think it is. This is the first time anyone ever gave up immunity to go into fire. Now, I don't think Chris is a good winner. I don't think he's the worst winner. I think there's definitely winners who have won doing less for themselves. Chris does play a very self-interested game. It's just the fact that he doesn't really, like, play it long enough. It is the problem. So he plays one of the worst winning games still, but it's kind of one of the least good ones, whereas there's bad winning games, in my opinion. Like, I'm a Gabler op. I'm sorry. I don't like him. I think Chris did more impressive than he did, but it's hard because, like, you know, who do you think's better? There's other winners I don't like, but we're not going to hate today. Gabler, though, I'm coming for you, bro. No, he's actually ex-army. He beat the shit out of me, even though he's you know, old. No, actually, I'm not going to say that. That's mean. Nothing wrong with being old, though. But yeah, Chris goes into fire, beats Rick, which, I mean, at this point was... Honestly, I don't know what it would feel like to watch this live. I actually found out what happened before I watched this episode, and I didn't watch it for months. I was dead set, no, I'm not watching Rick go out. How the fuck did Chris win? Well, That's the fun part. It was just the whole Edge thing, and not voting for Gavin, who was a runner-up of the season, is crazy. He played a very good social game. Julie was fine as well, but I think neither of them played neither of them played a blinder of a game enough for you to be like, no, it's disgusting. It's the biggest robbery in Survivor history. I understand why some people would be mad, but listen, the guy went in a 9-4 to over. Like, he won by a lot. And the whole Edge group really did band together and come up with a plan to take out Rick, essentially, which I think is a bit of a shame because it takes out some of the intrigue with Rick's downfall, because Chris didn't fully do that on his own in a way because the jury planned it with him. You literally just had to execute a plan that the jury gave you, and he did it well. If someone else failed it, then they fail it. He didn't fail it. He executed it really well. And yeah, that is why I think this is the season that really perfected the twist ending of a Survivor season. And I love it because I'm so tired of the edit being so predictable. Let's talk about some recent seasons very quickly. Survivor 47, everyone knew who was winning. Same with 46. Same with 45. 44 was a 2-horse race. But Carolyn, honestly, bro, Carolyn was robbed. No, I love Yam Yam and Jam Jam. I love Jam Jam and Carolyn. But yeah, good luck on the traitors, Carolyn. I'll do a traitors video at some point about that season because I'm really enjoying it. These winners have become very predictable in recent times. I think 43 was the last unpredictable winner with Gabler, but he didn't really even have his win explained in the finale. It didn't really tell us why he won in that finale for me. I mean, I think whereas we see why Chris wins and he has this big growth in the finale. Honestly, one of the craziest finale episodes for a single player ever because he won the game in the finale. And yeah, you know, there's always been seasons like Samoa that have these twists in the jury, or even All Stars, if you want to say Boston Rob with Robbed, which, I mean, you know, I'm a bigger fan of Boston Rob than Amber. But this is the first time where you really couldn't predict it. I mean, you could, but you wouldn't, you know, like technically you could. But that's it for me today. That was my first ever Survivor video. I really hope you guys enjoyed it because I want to make more videos. I want to make videos on different shows. I'm really experimenting this time, talking about a different show. But yeah, subscribe to the channel, guys. I want to hit... What do I want to hit? If I get 100 subscribers, guys, I'm going to do a big video. I'm going to do like a 30-minute video about something, like a ranking, a big ranking, guys. You get a big ranking if I hit 100 subs. I say if, hopefully when. But yeah, that's been Literal TV. Stay tuned for the Literal games coming soon. And I will see you guys in the next one. Goodbye for now.